Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel, Author Rhythm. Today, I'll be doing a review on a book that I have just finished, The Cuckoo Sister by Alison Stockham. It's it was made available to me as a result of my Prime membership, so it comes to as a because of Amazon First Reads that a lot of you know about. So I'm going to be giving my view on the book, first book for January. Let's get into it. So, a bit about the writer, first of all. Alison Stockham wrote and trained as a scriptwriter for the Script Factory. She moved into TV documentary production for the BBC, cool, and Channel 4, and she currently works for the Cambridge Literary Festival. So what's really exciting, and I love it, is this is her debut novel. I love reviewing debut novels. I want to be the first in there to see what an author comes out with as their first thing. Who knows? It could end up being a bestseller. I think it's actually right now a Kindle bestseller as we speak. So this is my opinion. I just want to stress it. My opinion. It doesn't in any way reflect everyone's view, and this is a bit of an engagement. So hopefully, I will get to hear what yours is. But that's Alison for you. So I'm going to go straight into the book itself, just the synopsis for the book. It had a very catching synopsis. That was one of the reasons I chose it. Now, for those of you who are part of Amazon First Reads, you have a book selection. And this one of the reasons I got it was the cover, which I'll come to much later. But a bit about the synopsis. You want your sister to have all her heart's desires, but what if she wants your children? Maggie has everything her sister Rose always wanted: a handsome husband and two adorable children, Emily and Elliot. But what Rose doesn't see is that Maggie is struggling. Every day is a fog of sleep loss and mess made by two tiny children. Left alone in her distress by husband Stephen, Maggie drifts ever closer to the edge. When Maggie finally cracks, walking out one day and not returning, Rose is right there to step into the breach. You trust your sister to look after your children, but should you? Very interesting synopsis. I have one sister, and I don't trust her to look after my kids. But anyway, this is not about me. That's by the way. So it has a very interesting synopsis. Having read the book, I like the synopsis. It's a very good summary of what's about to happen, and doesn't give anything away. Just a simple summary. Um, and with regards to themes, this is a book, and I'll come to that much later. But this is a book that explores the challenges associated with raising a young family. So for those who have kids, you know what it's like with their demands and their dependency on the parents or those who are looking after them, and all that that brings. The pressure on parents and carers is immense when kids are still small. So this explores that, looks at the family dynamic. um, Alison Stockham skillfully gives a glimpse as well into what it means to struggle with guilt and depression. So it was an eye opener for me. I like the fact that this book was an opportunity to introduce that. I've heard about it, and everyone knows has heard of depression in one form or the other, but reading about it through the character or a few characters that display it in this book is an eye opener, and Allison delivers on that. Readers will find the book a mix of characters who, although genuinely love each other, constantly find themselves at odds regarding critical steps to take and their impact on those closest to them. It's really interesting how you could claim to love someone, you absolutely adore them and all of that, but within this book you would see that underlying friction and just families trying to move forward, but people with their own decisions, selfish or otherwise, um, causing and impeding that progress. But I won't give too much away. It also in it you find a huge focus on regret, acceptance, and moving past previous mistakes. So that's a good selection of themes in the book. Let me know if you think I missed out anything. So I'm going to go straight into the review, um, and I'm going to be sharing my opinion on the Cuckoo Sister. Please, I just want to state this is one person's opinion. Keep your comments polite, whatever they are. We're all readers. We have our different backgrounds and our expectations. So let's just keep it honest and polite. So the first thing I want to look at, I keep saying, never judge a book by its cover, right? But I will. I always judge a book by its cover. I feel like a cover is the first selling point about a book. Oh, yeah, you later turn it over, you want to see the synopsis, you want to see the blurb, but the cover is the first thing that greets you. And with regards to this cover, it was quite interesting. I'd say it was probably 80% of the, maybe a bit about the blurb, but what was the deciding factor on whether this book was to be read was the cover. I liked how I liked the picture of the woman looking past that what appears to be a door, some kind of solid object, and just peeping. It creates that air of suspense and mystery and some sinister, malicious intent behind her eyes. I like that. Um, but why do I give it a 3 stars? I give it a 3 stars because I felt there was a disconnect between the picture itself and the story. So it's my opinion, but I don't feel like the the cover does the story any justice. The cover looks like something for that's for a thriller, some kind of psychological thriller, if you ask me. And I don't think there was a uh, I don't think it represented what the book was about. Is the cover great on it in its own? Yes, but yeah, that's my opinion with regards to the cover. I but like I said, I like it. Um, so next is so I give it 3 stars. Next is the plot. Plot I think was really good. Quite straightforward, quite a good plot. Nothing too strange, nothing too deep. There was not. Yeah, what you see is what you get with the plot, and it was skillfully delivered, if you ask me. And I have a few things written in my notes. So there was no scheming involved with this plot. It just kind of unraveled. You know, there are books you read where you know that where you're looking for hidden agendas and motives, but that wasn't the case. You just with this book, the plot itself and things that happen just unravel unplanned with the characters, and people just have to deal with the situations before them. As a result of that, it wasn't easy guessing who or coming to terms with who the antagonists and protagonists in the story were. I had to keep switching between the main characters. Um, and sit back to see. I couldn't predict who was going to end up being the bad guy or whatever. I'm not, no spoilers, so I just couldn't predict. Yeah, so that's that's my thoughts concerning the plot. As regards the structure, I also like the structure. I think it's different to what I'm used to reading. I'm used to fast-paced novels, or what I consider good paced novels, but this had more of a slow tone to it, which isn't necessarily bad. It's just the writer's skill and obviously the readership that the book was written for. So for those who like slow reads and you know the build up, meaty build up of characters and their background story and all of that, this is something suited for them, and I feel it was well structured to deliver on that. Uh, However, one of the main issues I had, the same thing with the structure, the fact I felt that there was a lot of narration in this particular book, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just how it came across to me, it made it a bit of a task, a bit of a challenge to read some aspects of the book because there was just so much description. What I felt was not enough dialogue in the book between characters. There was more description and background and all of that, and sometimes I felt it was just a bit much. I didn't feel to restate, I didn't feel that um, some narration was necessary. Just with the right kind of dialogue between people, you would be able to sense the tension or the friction in their relationship. But I feel like the writer focused a lot on narrating and talking and describing their backgrounds and motivations and all of that. I felt some of the dialogue was forced as well. Just not a huge part of the dialogues, but there was just this one that I felt didn't really work quite well. Uh, I don't feel the book is a thriller. I feel it's more in the drama genre. I think there's a genre for drama, so it's not. It's if anyone is trying to sell it as a some kind of thriller, not necessarily a psychological thriller, I feel it falls short of that. Um, yeah, so that's why I give it a 3 stars for the structure, and for the characters I give it 4 stars. Now there was a lot of effort put into the development of the characters, a lot of effort put into their background story. You get to know what their musings are, what pushes them, what motivates them, and I think that was a good investment. So you get to really know. You have an in-depth knowledge of the characters, so that was really, really good. I didn't have any favorite characters. I think, although all the characters were well balanced, I don't think there was anyone that was a bit off. I think readers would be able to relate with these particular characters. These characters are as human as can be. In all my readings, in all the books I've read, all the pieces of friction, yeah, all the pieces of fiction I have come across, this is one where there was, as far as I'm concerned, the most sound characters that you could encounter in a book. So kudos to Alison for that. Yeah, I didn't have any favorite character. The story is focused on the two main characters, Rose and Maggie, and in the writing, you can see that the focus switches between the both of them, which I think was really good. There was no confusion in the reading. So that's my review on that's what I think about the characters. Um, and then finally, the entertainment factor. So obviously, when it boils down to it, you want to read a book for the value it provides in terms of entertainment or education in some way or form. And I feel that this delivered definitely on learning. I didn't know that much about depression, postnatal depression, until I read this book, and I was quite happy about it. Um, Really good to relate with a character that's been going through a character group of characters going through that similar struggle. Um, Entertainment wise, I give it a 3 star. It wasn't a bad book, not a waste of my time. So yeah, 3 stars altogether. It was quite interesting as well. With every book I read, I try to no, I don't know that I try to. You kind of eventually come to a word or a set of words that an author uses frequently, either because it's possibly a part of um, their language, their own expressions. And for Alison, her recurring word was sick. Everyone was sick. That seemed to describe people who were frustrated, annoyed, guilt-ridden, whatever it is, sick just seemed to envelop all uh, all the emotion going through characters at different points in time. So yeah, that's a new one. Sick, 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 all through the book. But yeah, still on entertainment, I was quite happy with you read through a book and you see a lot of parts of it. The book itself was well written, but it had significant parts that I was quite happy. There was just that lovely ease of flow as I was reading it. And I want to share one of those parts from the book. I hope I can read it properly and do the book justice. So here I go. Maggie let Rose hold up whilst she felt she was splittering apart. What was she supposed to do now? Mothers are supposed to know, but she never did. She'd read all the books she was supposed to, and yet this instinct that she was supposed to have just wasn't there. In her life before, as a costume designer, she would look at material, at buttons, zips, fastenings, and just know what needed to go where and how it would look when it was done. What sort of person can create a dress but have no idea about another human? Maggie had never stopped to consider that her design instinct was molded by years of training and experience that as a mother she just didn't have yet. She only saw the flaws, as though she were a dress with poorly stitched seams and uneven hems, waiting to come apart with a single pull on a loose thread. Maggie, she snapped around at the voice to see Stephen, pink in the cheeks and slightly out of breath. There were no cabs, so I ran. I knew it'd be faster. How are they? He breathed as a sheen of sweat formed on his face. It was cold outside, but overly warm on the ward, and he looked almost soggy as he stood there in his work suit and wool coat, literally suited for somewhere else. God, Stephen, Rose admonished, you and your bloody running. Rose stepped forward to explain the latest, it being clear that Maggie was in no fit state. The two of them walked together to the children, who were excited at their father's arrival. Maggie was pale, trembling and mute. Now Stephen had arrived. She could switch off, shut down. The children were no longer her sole responsibility. Looking at the tablets before her, two children, Stephen and Rose, moved Maggie into action. Slowly, without wanting to bring attention to herself, she picked up her bag and walked out of the door. That is good reading. Not me personally, but I mean the writer. That was good. That was stuff for really good reading. So that is that about my thoughts um on the Cuckoo Sister. I give it 3 stars for the cover, 4 for the plot, 3 for structure, 4 for characters, and 3 for entertainment. I hope I have done it justice. This is one reviewer's opinion. Please let me know yours. It'll be good to engage on that. Let's talk a bit about the Cuckoo Sister and how we felt about it. So this is the end of my review. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in a couple of weeks because I have another book I would like to give my opinions on as well. All right, guys, take care of yourself, and I'll see you then. Bye now.